Well, welcome very much, traders. Thank you for joining me. Wow, what an amazing week we had and what opportunities were presented to us. But I'm sure you're like me and kind of glad that that week has passed. I think we'll see maybe some lower volatility in the weeks ahead, up to probably inauguration possibly, but more so how things are going to be digested over the next few weeks, what might come out to play. But I wanted to share with you first, and then a little bit later we'll go on to what's going to be coming up this next week as far as things to be prepared for, to look for. But in your charts, I wanted to share with you again, this is the S&P futures chart you have in front of you, and what preparation we had and what we were watching for this last week. I wanted to point out a few things to you. We had this trend line here. We also had a wedge pattern we were watching right in here, as well as an upper trend line. And look how that was all broken. We came down at the end of last week, at the beginning of this week, we came down and we touched our trend line, and then we continued the move up. And of course, then, Tuesday, then primarily Wednesday was the big day. We had a range of about 150 points on the S&P, which was amazing. The S&P did have its best week of 2024. It was just incredible. Like I said, the opportunities that presented themselves to us. But on this picture here, as far as these trend lines, I'll be still watching for a retouch of the top trend line. Will it come down and test that? Right here we had the previous high, which was 6,027. Just amazing again to be saying 6,000. But we'll see if that does a retest like it did here, if it comes back down to it, or will it continue to go down. Like I said, we'll probably have a little less volatility, possibly. I'm certainly not always right, by no means, but that's something that I will be prepared for. So let's take a look a little bit deeper into the S&P. We are going to first look at, over here we have our 1 hour chart, followed over here by our 15-minute chart. Now in the 1 hour chart, because this is the all-time high, was 6,040.50. Just an amazing candle here. But then it dropped down. We had a wick above, and then it came back down again, and now it's coming back down a little bit. So we'll see if it does. Now this is the line that I had on the daily chart. We'll see if that gets tested at about 6,010. So we'll see if that falls down. If it does, look at this point of support we have over here. It is still above the 20 moving average, the exponential moving average on the hourly and on the 15-minute chart. I use the 20 EMA, so we'll be watching that. Of course, as I always show to you, I am always watching the RSI. The RSI over these last few days, of course, has not even dipped below the 50 point, so still a lot of momentum to the upside. So that's kind of the area that I'll be watching for initially at the beginning of the week. And now over here on our 15-minute chart, again, that's another line, and this area here, this corresponds to the area on our 1 hour chart. So you see if it dips down, we'll see how far it'll come. Certainly not unheard of that it can certainly come down to that point and do a test of it. Now the RSI on the 15-minute chart is hitting the 50 point right now. When I'm looking at the RSI in the 1 hour and the 15-minute, I like to have some correspondence there. I like to either see both of them retracing down, if they go past down below the 50, if that'll be a point to possibly, that'll be going even further, possibly down to the 30, and then it'll kind of retrace up to that mean of the 50. So those are the things that I'll be looking for on the S&P coming into this next week. Now certainly keep in mind that now tomorrow is Veterans Day, Observance Day. It is a holiday, but not for the exchange. It is a holiday on the bond market. So the markets are open tomorrow. And also keep in mind we have overnight trading, right? So we don't know what's going to be the activity during the overnight hours and what we're going to be waking up to tomorrow. So that's why you want to be prepared for this. Of course, if it goes above the all-time high of the 60-40, then we'll be looking for some extensions, possibly on your Fibonacci. So you want to also be prepared on the upside, not just on the downside, but on the upside also. Now, when you're looking for it to retrace down, you do have some support and resistance levels you can watch for, whereas it keeps extending up, you have to wait wait for those to be generated before you can really act on those. So now let's take a look at one of my other favorites. This is gold. Now gold, I had mentioned to you, is certainly a safe haven. Well, this last week, people were pulling money possibly out of gold and then putting them into the equities, into the stock market, right? Because of the huge increase in the stock market. So let's look at gold. This is a trend line that I had been watching. This was violated here over this last week. It came down. It's still slightly above and this is on the daily chart, above the 50 EMA. So it did touch that level, but then it came back up. It tested that trend line. So we'll see if that continues the momentum to the downside, or if it wants to then go past above that trend line again and continue the move up. So that's what we'll be looking at. Now on the RSI, on the daily chart on gold, it is below 50 now. So we'll have to watch that to see if that retraces up past the 50 level point. And gold, then digging down deeper on gold over at the 1 hour chart and then on our 15-minute chart. These are the levels that we'll be watching on that. You'll see the point of resistance right here. This price level is a resistance. This is that trend line that was violated, and it retouched it like I showed you on the daily chart, and then it fell below it. And now it came up a little bit, and now it's decreasing as well. The RSI on the hourly, well, as well on the 15-minute chart, are well below the 50 at this point. So we'll see if we have some retracement. Now on the 15-minute chart on gold, look at all that consolidation here. So I wouldn't take any action until that violates this price level to the upside, or if it comes below the price level and coming down further. Now that lower level is right about 26.90, so we'll see if that falls through or goes above the 26.97 level. That's the area that I'll be watching for. Now on the EMA, on the 15-minute chart, this I would want to see that go above that as a strong move up to the upside. Now if it does break up to the upside, we might have a retest of this level because there is so much activity here. But it might just be exhausted and then it can go back up again. So that's what I will be watching for, and that's why I wanted to show you both of these in that the daily and then trickle down to the 1 hour and the 15 and point out where you can possibly enter, what's the good levels for you to best be prepared for. Now I use the RSI, the EMA, trend lines. Those are the primary things that I watch for. You certainly have your favorite indicators. We traders always, have our favorites, the ones that work for you and the ones that don't. So this next week we'll have, like I said, we do have the holiday tomorrow. Bond markets are closed. It seems like every member of the Fed are speaking this week, so we'll see what they have to say. Sometimes they will have an impact, and sometimes it's just kind of shrugged off. And right now, with all the momentum to the upside, I don't know. I don't think it seems like even bad news is a reason to go long right now. But Wednesday we have the CPI coming out, the Consumer Price Index reports. On Thursday, we have the Producer Price Index reports. And now on Thursday, typically oil inventories are released on Wednesday. This week with the holiday on Monday, they come out on Thursday. So if you are an oil trader, make sure you are aware of that. And then we have jobless claims on Thursday. And we're still in the earnings season. So just still so much going on. Like I said, hopefully the volatility will ease up a little bit going into this. But who knows? We have no control over that. We just watch the charts. Be ready. Be ready for upside or downside, either way, and take advantage of that. Thank you so very much for joining me again. Trade with traction, not distraction. Please comment, subscribe, like. I certainly appreciate any feedback that you are willing to provide to me. Thank you so much. Take good care.